Hey guys! So today we are answering a subscriber question, and the question in question was, Frederick, can I put my projects that are not strictly related to the job that I am applying for on my CV? So let's get into it. Well, if you're going to be a programmer, I want to just state one thing, and this is probably true for for every job. When we talk about what's relevant information, that is a little bit subjective and it's a little bit hard to define. I will just get the most obvious thing out of the way first and say, I assume that you're talking about code projects, because if you're asking about should you put, your high school project or whatever, you may have your science project from high school on there, no. Don't do that. It's not relevant at all. But if you let's just say that you wanted to move from one specific thing to another. Let's say that you're a back-end developer and you want to go into front-end development, or vice versa. Adding a few projects to your CV, or showing off the things that you've actually done that may be relevant it's absolutely not. It's not a bad idea at all. You have to, it's not about filling it out with every single little thing. You have to look at the big things, the stuff that may be relevant, because what you're going for is virtually to communicate to your employer that you know what you're doing. Hopefully you can imagine that the employer isn't all that interested in reading through a good rule of thumb, guys, is this: your CV and its length and how much content you are allowed to add to it should stand into the proportion of the position that you are applying for. It is very common that people applying for extremely high level positions such as CTO or CEO, like we're talking about people who are going to basically run an entire organization, needs a very, very thorough background check. Because the impact of hiring such a person is massive for the company. If they hired the wrong CEO or CTO, that may cripple the entire organization, because these people make the decisions at the top, right? While as for a programmer, you're very likely going to be at the lower end of the decision making, and which means that although you are important, you're an absolutely critical part of the company, right? It's not important for them to know if you've ever, if you have a criminal record or things of this nature. Well, maybe it is, depending on the organization. If you want to work for a bank, I'm pretty sure they're interested in that, or the government. But I hope I can kind of relay what I'm thinking here. It's not so much about showing absolutely everything, because that's not relevant. Showing the things that relays that you know what you're doing is important. So if you've been working for a little while, and let's say that you worked with a few projects and you have some serious production grade applications that you can show off, now that's great, but showing off every little single tiny application you ever made isn't really a good idea. I mean, when I apply for a job, regardless of what job I apply for, I don't send my future employer a link to all of my school projects, which I still have. I still keep them around, but I mean, there's tons of them, and they are nothing projects. They don't really provide much value. Some of the projects are relevant and a little bit more serious, but most of them are not. So I think that that's a healthy mindset to have with you. It's about respecting the other person's time and knowing that what they're looking for is just indications, or getting a sensation that they can trust that you know what you're doing. So what I want you to take away from this is you can absolutely add projects that are not strictly relevant to the position that you are applying for, depending on your definition, of course. But remember that if you bloat your CV with just a bunch of meaningless bullshit, that's going to hurt you, actually. It's the less is more, for sure, when it comes to this industry. It's quality versus quantity a lot of the times. Adding up years is a great thing, but you need to have a good have a long think about what it is, what you want to communicate with your CV, because if you add too much, people are not even going to read it and they're just going to dismiss you immediately. But adding the right stuff and showing that, yeah, you have some extra projects on the side, they're not strictly related to this exact thing, that shows that you care about your profession, that it shows that you're interested in your craft. And that's exactly the sort of message that you want to relay. You want to relay that you are passionate or interested in what you do, and that you actually know what the hell you're doing. Those two things is exactly what you're going for when you're making a CV. Have a great day.